Alright, I gotta get something off my chest. And I want to hear your thoughts too to see if I'm crazy or not. Today, I'm going to be talking about what I call the curse of the silent protagonist. Basically, well, it just shouldn't be a thing anymore. Alright, I guess that's the whole video. Share and subscribe. Okay, I'll explain a little bit more. Silent lead characters in video games have been a thing since the beginning, out of necessity, of course. Famed heroes like Super Mario or Link had no voice on the NES or SNES because they couldn't. Technical limitations didn't allow it, and to try and make that a reality didn't cross anyone's minds back then. It wasn't until the N64 that these two examples got their first vocal cords in the form of "Let's go" and "Yeah." That was pretty good. But at the same time, over on the PlayStation end of town, you had characters fully voiced in cinematic fashion, like in Metal Gear Solid or Resident Evil. As time went on, this of course got better and better, until we are now full-on casting real-life actors to both voice and perform their characters through motion capture technology. Now, let's be clear, not every character needs a voice, especially in games like first-person shooters or platformers. Plenty of heroes like Gordon Freeman, the Doomslayer, the Drifter, or Crash Bandicoot wouldn't really have much to contribute beyond a grunt or two because it's just not really that kind of game that needs it. Do y'all remember how painful it was when poor Charles Martinet had to make Mario carry on an entire promo for the 3DS?
Hello, it's me, Mario, and this is Nintendo 3DS. Woohoo! As you look closer, you'll see some things that are familiar and some features that are new to Nintendo and to all kinds of portable game systems. You can get a Nintendo 3DS system in one of three colors: Flame Red, Aqua Blue, or Cosmo Black. Beautiful!
It just didn't work. So I'm cool with all of that. Where my beef lies with the silent protagonist gimmick is specifically with narrative-driven games, RPGs to be specific. Frankly, I don't even care if an RPG features voice actors or not. I'm talking about those times when the lead character is denied even text dialogue. I call it a curse in the title of this video because I think it's one of the most crippling aspects to an in-game story. The second you decide your main character isn't going to speak, you've automatically put a limit on how impactful your story can be. This is my author side coming out again, but a main character has to speak for me to care. You have to know who a character is in order to be invested in what happens to them. This was a pretty common staple for RPGs back in what we call the Golden Era, that is when Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 reigned supreme. The thing is though, no technical limitation was restricting developers from including more text-based dialogue. It was a popular, deliberate mechanic used as a narrative device to insert the player into the shoes of the main character so that you can become them. The thought process does make some sense since RPGs have their roots in free-range tabletop games like Dungeons & Dragons, but even as a kid, I noticed how weird it was. I hate to pick on Chrono Trigger because it is seriously one of my favorite games of all time, but Chrono being a mute seemed odd to me as a 10-year-old and is downright annoying to me as an adult. I won't spout spoilers, but recall the emotional scene near the end of the game where Chrono is forced to leave the party for a while. When he's finally reunited with Marle, their love theme plays and she throws her arms around him, expressing her joy and relief and recounting all the adventures they'd had while he was gone. And Chrono just kind of sits there like a dummy. They even break the fourth wall a bit by having her ask if Chrono is even listening to her. There are many emotionally charged scenes in this game, and having the main character just sit there and blink at people like a reanimated corpse is just such a huge missed opportunity to me. I know it's implied that Chrono is talking throughout the game. This is indicated many times by other characters repeating what he supposedly said, but like, why though? I don't need to be in Chrono's shoes. I don't want to fill in his dialogue with my inner thoughts. My inner thoughts are stupid. I want to escape myself and my life. I want to watch him do and say cool things so I can idolize him. or do and say disagreeable things so I can go on an emotional journey with him. It really is a bummer, and I would just love if there was some sort of mod that inserts dialogue for Chrono for the entire game. In fact, if anyone out there has the programming chops, hit me up. I'm willing to author that mod myself. Let's do this. Okay, let's stop bullying poor Chrono and move on to the biggest culprit of this from a more recent game. Obviously, I'm talking about our boy, Link. Link's awesome. We all love Link. But this has gotta stop. I know I felt you cringe trying to imagine what a fully voiced Link would even sound like, and trust me, I'm with you, it's a scary thing to think about. It would have to be done just right, but it's long overdue. I think he's gotten away with it just fine until about Twilight Princess. By this time, the storylines in Zelda games were turning up the heat, but where it really starts to actually hurt the game experience, in my opinion, is Skyward Sword. I'm willing to die on the hill that Skyward Sword has the most fleshed out storyline of any Zelda game. I justify this by his extremely dynamic facial expressions and the fact that there are actual character arcs, like he and Zelda's relationship being meaningful and growing throughout the game. The final nail in the coffin, though, where to me a Silent Link ascended to meme level, was Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Because this is of course the point where everyone else in the story is fully voice acted. This made Link in every cutscene look like a total doofus, and pretty much negated any chance an emotional scene had to be impactful for me. I remember beating Breath of the Wild for the first time after something like 120 hours, and the end scene just making me chuckle. "Oh, Link, I've been waiting for you for 100 years, thank you for saving me." Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I honestly think it's a problem. At the very least, Nintendo is gonna have to face this reality soon with the upcoming Zelda movie, but who's to say if it will have any impact on what they do with the games? Now, in the case of Chrono or Link, the problem sticks out like a sore thumb because these characters are pre-written and the plot points in their stories are pretty much set in stone. But what about games where you can fully customize your character? Like, say, in something like the recent Dragon's Dogma 2 or the upcoming Xenoblade Chronicles X remaster. Are these main characters justified being mute? In my opinion, not really. Once you stray into pure MMO territory where you truly are the character, I can start to understand. But games like Dogma or Xenoblade are still narrative-driven games, and therefore, again, in my opinion, need to have fully fleshed out protagonists we can sit back and learn about. Despite popular belief, it is possible to fully customize a character and have them still speak, with or without text. I think one of the finest examples of doing this right is Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. While you absolutely fully customize your hero, their voice, and even their gender, the game still doesn't shy away from making you an integral part of the plot, fully swapping out dialogue branches and giving whole new conversations depending on how you choose to create them. It allows you to be important in the narrative rather than just a brain-dead onlooker. The protagonist, cleverly named Robin by default to fit with either gender you choose, is a fully developed standalone person with a backstory and unique, witty personality, and can even actively participate in the game's robust relationship system, building bonds with unique dialogue branches with dozens and dozens of characters, creating a frankly mind-boggling variation of interpersonal conversations. The way Fire Emblem Awakening manages to allow you to be the protagonist, while simultaneously including you in animated cutscenes and emotional story beats, really is next level. And if this game, which is so wide open, can do it, why can't a linear RPG? So what do you think? After decades of progress in narrative-driven games like RPGs, developers are still using the silent protagonist gimmick. Do you like it? I know some people out there even prefer it. Does it irk you like it does me? What was once charming and more of an afterthought to me now comes across as awkward or honestly, just plain lazy. As I said before, it's a curse to me because it puts an automatic limit on how great of a story you can tell and the impact it will have on the player. Break the curse by leaving your thoughts below, and I'll talk to you next time. We can't go without giving a big shout out to our amazing channel members. Thank you to everyone listed on this screen. You guys, this community is becoming something really, really special. And we have to give a huge shout out to our channel superfans, Jason Awesome VODs, Craig Stratton, Revolve02, and Sunny Carter. If you want to become a channel member, simply click the join button on the home screen of the channel or right underneath this video.